So good morning and welcome to our mindful movement class today. It's gorgeous and sunny outside and it finally feels like spring is winning the battle over winter, which is nice. I want to invite you to settle into your mat. You can be seated or you can be lying down on your back. Pick something that just feels supportive and you can do 5 minutes of breathing. It feels like our constant return to our breath when we come to the mat is teaching us over and over again what we do have in our control and what we don't. And just returning to the sensations and movement of our inhales and exhales. In the practice of Buddhism and throughout the practice of yoga, we just notice our inhale. And notice our exhale. And we're bringing our awareness down to such a subtle level. I breathe in and I'm aware that I'm breathing in. I breathe out and I'm aware that I'm breathing out. So you are withdrawing your senses from the external world. You are turning and inviting your awareness to be inward. Noticing you. Noticing all that you feel and sense. Noticing all the ways that your body communicates with you. And so we feel the inhale and we feel the exhale. And just allow your physical body to settle. To relax into you. You might scan your physical body and just notice any muscles that are contracted or stiff or tense. Maybe they're gripping a little bit today. And as you allow your breath to pass through those areas, is there any capacity to let go just a little bit more? So good. So good. Good. So for the remainder of our hour today, we just want to invite this breath, this slow, sweet, unrestricted breath to be present through all of our movement. So regardless of what movement you're doing, try not to make it so big, make it so bold on the edge of your comfort zone that the breath restricts, the breath contracts. And if your awareness can just always have playing in the background, the structure of your breath, what it's doing right now, keeping it as fluid and as unrestricted as you can. Nice work. So I'd like to just start by shrugging your shoulders up to your ears. Oh, if you're reclined right now, those shoulders are going to go up towards the ceiling and then let them soften back down again. Let them lift towards the ceiling or ears and let them soften back down again. Regardless of if you're reclined or if you're seated, let the hands lift up to the sky. And then pull the arms down, letting the shoulder blades draw down into the mat or down your spine. And then inhale, lift them up off the floor, off your back, set them back down again. There's just this nice, slow movement of shoulder blades. Sweet. And then with your breath, allow the inhale to just float the wrists up off the floor. As soon as the inhale ends, stop. And let light exhale, soften the hands back down again. We're just practicing letting the breath lead the movement. So many times we make our movement have to be something and we make our breath keep up, right? So if we're, that's making our breath keep up to our movement. Today, I just want you to breathe and notice. How long do my arms lift as I inhale? When I begin to exhale, can I let my hands go back down again? We're just practicing letting the breath lead, letting the movement move into a following position. We're mixing up our brain a little bit when we do this because this is not how we move about our everyday life. Feels different, doesn't it? Just to let your movements fit inside the container of your breath. And as we practice, the container just gets bigger and stronger and wider and more expansive. And it allows our movement then to be bigger. Just cultivate. Nice work. So if you are reclined now, allow yourself to make your way up to a seated position. And if you are seated, just let yourself continue floating those arms up, letting them release back down again. It just feels delicious. It feels juicy. Good work. So with a bolder breath now, everyone seated, let that inhale reach all the way up to the sky. And then bring your hands down to your heart on the exhale. Sweeping the hands to touch, exhaling them down to your heart. And again, just gathering all the air of the world and pulling it inside. Nice work. We're going to do one more. And then as the hands rest down to the heart, begin to just twist to the right, back to center, to the left. So if your thumbs touch your breastbone and your chin stays floating over top of your fingertips, you'll really start to feel the side ribs and the paraspinal muscles in the mid-back. Just concentrate on that. So it's not so much trying to get a really big stretch through your neck or through your shoulders. We're just isolating, noticing our breath in this small twist. Don't push your exhale past the point where you can no longer breathe. Yeah, just let the body loosen up the spine. Slow and gentle. And then release. As you come out of that, let's move to our hands and knees position. Spread your fingers wide. Press the whole palm into the floor. And if your weight feels like it's dumping in the heel of the palm, roll your weight forward. Plant into those base knuckles. Ground down into the thumb and the index finger. Good job. You know that you're on your fists if there's any reason that this doesn't feel good. Nice. Now inhaling, the tailbone and the crown of the head lift. Exhaling, the tailbone tucks under, the head draws in. Allow yourself to smoothly move between these two poses. Moving through an exhale in one direction and an inhale in the other direction. I don't want to prescribe which is cat and which is cow. I just want you to flow with which your breath is doing now, your body has chosen. There's so many things in our world right now that are unknown. And we're being asked sort of to sit in what is unknown, be able to say, I don't know. I don't know. So we don't want our brain to have to boss our breath around. We want it to just trust and to give that breath trust in our bodies. Bringing your body back to a neutral position, to take your right hand onto the left ribs and then just drop the right shoulder down towards the ground and sweep it up towards the sky. So you're going to do a little twist as you're in this kneeling position. If anyone's grounded wrist doesn't like this, you can feel free to do the same pose from your forearm. Yeah. Nice. And then lift yourself out of that and go to the other side. So left hand holds right ribs, and there's a gentle twist happening here. Pelvis stays square, shoulders strong. You can drop to your forearm if that feels better in your body and your wrist. Nice work. Nice work. Back to center, those hands ground down. Sweet, your back toes curl under. When they press into the floor, your hands press into the floor. Lift your knees just a couple inches and press your bum back as far as it'll go. Like you're crouched and you're ready to jump. And then push and roll onto the balls of the foot, reaching your tailbone up to the sky. Shake your head on the end of your spine, roll your shoulders, sliding the shoulder blades deep into the back ribs. Just let yourself paddle your heels. Perhaps the hips sway right and left here. Check in with your palms. Can you ground the index finger and thumb to the floor? Or just make an effort for them to stretch in that direction. So good. And then your eyes can lift to your thumbs. Your knees can bend deeply. Let's walk feet towards hands. Inhale, lift spine till it's parallel to the floor in that tabletop position. Exhale, let yourself deepen the fold. Perhaps your knees bend here. Maybe the head falls off the end of the spine. You're just breathing into the backs of your legs. Noticing today all that's tight. Yeah, slide your hands back up onto your shins and press that spine into a nice long straight line. The crown of your head reaching to the door, the sit bones stretching to the back wall. Good. Well, in my space, it's a door and a back wall. Exhale, let yourselves fold again. And on an inhale, sweep those hands all the way up to the sky. Exhale, drop them to your heart. Check in with your breath. As you roll those hands to ceiling again, is your inhale happening? As you draw them back down to your heart, is your exhale happening? Good. Big breath in. And nice breath out. Sweet. And then you fold forward. Lift to a tabletop position. Stretch through the crown of your head, push through your sit bones. I want you to bend your knees, plant your hands, and take 2 steps back with each foot. Let the shoulders roll forward on top of the wrists. Let your back knees, both of them, ground down into the floor. Uncurl your toes. Your hips can sink backwards towards the heels, and they can come forward, tabletop, and reach down to the floor. Let's move through those positions. The exhales are where the hips sink backwards and forwards. The inhales bring you to tabletop. Can you move through these 2 positions without letting your breath get sticky or tight? So as soon as you fall into the hips released positions, behind and in front, don't stay so long that you have to hold the breath or push into the exhale. Nice. And then let yourself come back up again. We'll move from this to a side plank. So your right hand grounds, your right knee grounds, stretching the left leg back behind you. Lift up. That top hand can go to the hip or to the ceiling. Your back foot can stay on the floor. It can lift. Just imagine energy moving out of your body through the bottom palm, through the top fingers, through that back heel, and out the crown of your head. 4 different directions. Breathe and just emanate energy down into each limb, out the crown of your head. Yeah. And then you'll come down and do the same thing on the other side. So the left knee plants, right leg reaches back behind you. Top hand comes to hip or sky. The long leg reaches back behind you, or it presses to the outside back of your mat. Lifting up. Find that deep breath. Yeah, imagine those 4 points like compass points, head and heel, north and south maybe, I don't know, your hands east and west, and just stretch your breath, stretch your energy out through each compass point. Nice. Hands come down, knees come down, back toes curl under, downward dog again. Stretching up, sit bones to the sky, draw your shoulders away from the ears, feeling like your neck just got an inch or two longer. Notice yourself pressing into the full palm. Paddle your heels, sway your hips. You're noticing all the different tight areas of your body. Slowly release, slowly allowing more subtleness and more suppleness to come into those areas. Your gaze lifts to your thumb. Your knees bend and walk the feet to the hands. Let's come to a tabletop and exhale to fold. Inhale, bring your hands all the way up to the ceiling and then drop them down to your heart. Nice work. Breathe in, deep forward fold. Lengthen to tabletop. Exhale, bend, plant your hands. Step back just your left leg. Yeah, so you might choose here to be on your fingertips. I want you to just sort of lean back and forth that front knee. Nice work. And then we'll take that back leg and step it forward. Tabletop, stretch the back straight. Exhale, put the fingertips on the floor again. Lunge with the right leg. You've got the ball of the foot planted and there's just some sweet hip movement. You roll back and forth in that runner's lunge pose. Nice. Fingertips ground, back foot steps forward, good. Tabletop again. Exhale, fold. Bring your hands all the way to sky and drop them to your heart. Nice work again, all the way up. Good. Exhale and release. Nice. Tabletop. And then ground down. Let's go left foot first again. Reach it back behind you and drop the back knee. Uncurl the toes. Good. So now the fingertips can just start to crawl back behind you. Your hips can move behind you and start to think about lifting the front toes. Breathe and lift back up and sink back down and lift back up. Yeah. Nice. And then come all the way back up and let the hips really fall forward. Letting them fall towards that front right heel. Nice. And then we'll just do one little twist here. Your left fingers stay grounded. Your right hand comes to the thigh and turn and open your chest. Your knee is pulling in towards your left shoulder. Your chest is lifting up your right shoulder, rolling back behind you. Good. Fingers drop down, tenting on the floor. Back toes curl under. Lift the back knee and step forward. Tabletop. Nice. Exhale to fold. Inhale, fingers come all the way up to the sky. And exhale, drop your hands to your heart again. Nice. Other side. Big breath in. Drop hands. Let's begin to fold forward. Find a tabletop back. Tented fingers, the right foot steps back. We drop the back knee. Good. As your fingers walk backwards, your hips can release towards your back heel, lifting that top front toe. Yeah. Breathing there. Now perhaps there's just a little bit of forward back motion here. That's what we did on the other side. If stillness feels better, you can stay in stillness. Some of your knees are going to make you stay in stillness rather than rocking back and forth. Okay, come forward and then let the hips really sink down as if they want to just fall towards that front left heel. Yeah, nice stretch through the hip flexor. Breathe. See if your breath can be unrestricted even here. The right hand stays tented, the left hand comes to thigh, and just turn and open. Feel that nice stretch all the way up the spine, how it twists from the hips all the way to the crown. If your neck feels okay today, then you can begin to let your chin float upward. Yeah. Stay unrestricted with your breath. Remember, we don't twist our breath out of our body. Yeah. And then let those hands come back down. Back toes curl under, back knee lifts, foot steps forward, and then tabletop. Good. Fold down, inhale, fingers come all the way up. Exhale, hands drop to heart center. Take a step back with your right foot. So heel grounds down into the floor and the left knee bends. Think of your spine being vertical, so the tailbone points to the floor, crown of your head draws to the sky. Release your shoulders down your back body. Nice. Push through that back heel. Begin to let your fingers just rise to the sky. Pull the shoulders down and away from the ears. Beautiful. We're going to do some movement here today. It's starting to be kapha season here in Canada. So we're getting a little bit more moisture, a little bit more rain. We're wanting to shake off the winter clothes. So your hands are going to come down beside you. You can lean forward and then you can come up and straighten your front knee. And then breathe in. If you want to exhale out through your mouth, every time your knee bends and your hands reach for the back heel, go ahead. Take a nice long inhale through your nose when the fingers reach for the sky and the front knee straightens. All the way up. And as you let your hands drop down to your heart, stretch into a bent front knee again. Good work. Okay, so back foot steps forward. Let's step back with the left. Nice. That heel plants into the floor and the front knee reaches over top of the front heel. Inhale, hands to sky. Pull shoulders away from ears. Shoulder blades plugging into the back ribs. Breathe here. Feel that back knee reaching, or back heel reaching into the ground with the front knee, stretching forward. And then just start adding movement. Good. So hands reach back behind you, lean forward, knee still bent. Next movement, fingers to sky, knee straightens. Good. Fluid breath. Move back and forth. Your inhale, helping you rise. Your exhale, helping you sweep forward. Nice. Last one. And next time you bring your hands up to the sky, allowing them to drop down to your heart center and bending into the front knee again. Good. Just feel how we're invigorating the body. It just feels like we're filling it with that juicy breath. Every cell receiving that fresh oxygenated blood. Nice. Okay, press into that back heel and step forward. Grounding into both feet. Inhale, fingers come all the way up to the sky. Exhale, dropping them to the heart, sweeping forward into a big forward fold, lifting and lengthening the spine. Good. Bending into the knees and letting the fingers come down towards the floor. All right, so this time our knees are bent, our bum is poked back behind us. Lift your spine till it's parallel to the floor and then take the hands back behind you. Good. So if you had a board on your back right now and you were going to lift the chest up away from the thighs, keeping that board on your back. Good. So come up just as far as you want to and then let the fingers start to reach out in front. Breathe. Good. Okay, so from this position, we're going to do the same kind of movement. We're going to exhale, chest comes back down to knees. Inhale, lift like you've got a board on your back. So that your hinge is at the hip flexor, right? Not the low back. Breathe in, breathe out. You might be just lifting your hands to parallel to the floor. Yeah. Yeah, I've got a nice burn, some good juiciness happening in those legs. Nice. Flow with your breath. There's the inhale. There's the exhale. If everything feels okay, perhaps the hands are lifting higher, but don't let yourself bring a bend into that low back. So don't kind of arch and squish those vertebrae in the low back. Good. Last one, and come all the way to standing. And drop your hands down to your heart. Nice work. Okay, big stretch. Separating your feet so that you can still see the camera and you've got a wide leg spread. Okay, we'll move through some warrior twos. I'm going to turn my right toes out to the side. Let the right knee bend over top. Pressing the left pinky toe side of the foot down into the floor. Think about your inner thighs pulling in towards the bone. Draw your shoulders down your back. Good work. Open the fingers up, nice and wide. Let's stretch forward with the right fingers. Pull back, stretch back with the left. Reach, inhale, reach. Yeah, reach. Yeah, there you go. One more forward, back to center. One more back to center. Hands to hips, straighten that front knee and go to the other side, dropping that knee right on top. Warrior two. So it's almost like you're finding nice fluidity in the spine. And this back reach, side bend through the body, some tightness in the hips is starting to loosen up. Reach. Reach. Where's your inhale? And where's your exhale? I try and breathe in every time I come back to center, right there. Try and exhale into the reach. You might be doing opposite. That's okay. Nice. And then forward, last one, back, last one, hands to hips. Both legs straight, both toes point forward, tall spine, forward bend. Let the spine come all the way back up again. This is another one where you're imagining you have a board kind of stapled to your sacrum, stapled to your tailbone, and to the back of your head. And when you fold forward, you're staying connected to that board. And then all the way back up again. Just notice what happens in your back body, in the backs of your legs, as you fold forward each time, taking it a tiny bit deeper. Nice. We bring a little bit more movement into class in the springtime. Because spring things get a little bit heavier and it needs a little bit more, I don't know, punctuation of breath, a little bit more vigor in the breath. I feel like we practice vata pacifying all winter long here. So like 9 months of the year. We have maybe 2 months, maybe 10 weeks. I figure 10 weeks of kapha season, 10 weeks of pitta, and the rest we just do vata season. So like 32 weeks of vata season. Okay, come back up from those forward folds. Turn your right toes out again. Bend into that right knee. Yeah. Stretch through your right hand and then draw the elbow or the hand down onto that front thigh. Okay. Extend the top arm out and away. This bottom hand turns and faces up. And there's something pressing. This elbow presses in so that you can open and lift your chest. Notice that. If this hand feels happier being to the sky or on your hip, you go right ahead. But allow that opening to happen across your chest. Good. It's almost like the torso is lifting up and away from the arm as the elbow presses down into the thigh. Good. Beautiful. Now transfer that work to your feet. Feel the feet press into the floor. Feel the legs get strong and the torso kind of get strong too so that this elbow doesn't press anymore. Feel that? Yeah. So some of you might open the hands up like this. Some of you might keep a little bit of weight in that hand, in that elbow. And then we press into the feet and slowly bring the body up, keeping that front knee bent. Yay. Drop your hands. Straighten that front leg, toes point forward. Good work. Other side. Left toes point out, knee bends. Don't you kind of like being in your own room where it doesn't matter if you're doing right when I'm doing left or whatever? I do. Shoulders reach down the back, hands stretch up to shoulder height. Breathe. Think of those thigh bones, pulling the muscles in towards them. Yeah, especially the adductor, the inner thigh. Reach through your front fingers. Bring the hand or the elbow down to that front knee. Top hand, 3 choices. Hip, ceiling, arced along the side of the body. Turn your bottom hand up. Press into that elbow. So instead of the kind of body collapsing onto that elbow, you're lifting the chest up. You're lifting the body up and out of that shoulder, turning it forward, raising those top ribs towards the ceiling. Breathe. Breathe. Just opening that chest. Nice work. Press firm into the feet. Start to lift the body up off that front arm, bottom arm. Perhaps you can let both open. Firm press into the feet and draw yourself up, keeping the front knee bent. Hardest part. One more breath. Straighten that front leg. Good work. Feet both point forward, heel toe, legs a little bit closer together, then point toes outward. Nice. Elbows open up to the side. Fingers point to the ceilings, knees bend. Sink into that goddess pose. Feel the back of your head, elbows, wrists, sit bones, rest against an imaginary wall. Pressing yourself backwards into it. Pulling the inner thighs backwards as if the thighs too could press into the wall. Breathe. Good work. And then stretch wide open. There's a tiny back bend here. The wrists fall behind you. The head releases back. The chest opens to the sky. 5-pointed star. Another unrestricted breath. Hard to do in a back bend. Yeah. Bring everything back up to center, hands to heart. Heel toe your feet back together. As they touch, drop your hands down to your hips. Lift up, sink down. Do that a few times, noticing how high you can lift without your ankles splaying open. Yeah. We begin to sort of feel a line of muscles all the way up the back of our legs connect to each other. the chain of engagement from heels and the soles of our feet all the way up to the bum cheeks. Nice work. Okay, so you all have some piece of furniture or a wall or something like that close to you. So find something that you can touch. And this just helps us. We're going to notice in a second as we go into our balance poses today that having just a tiniest touch on something helps keep your breath unrestricted. So just notice wherever your hand is on the back of a chair or on a wall, I want you to notice something. Let one foot press into the floor. I'm going to use my left and begin to lift my right. Notice your breath. If you have just a little bit of weight in that hand on the wall or on the chair, lifting the right heel. Unrestricted. And then if you let that hand come off, notice if something gets tighter in your breath. So all I want you to do is keep enough weight, enough connection through the fingertips into the wall or chair that the breath goes, okay, I'm good. I feel supported, I feel safe, I feel secure here. Yeah? Okay. I'm actually going to turn and face my wall. Maybe you're going to turn and face your chair. And the left foot presses into the floor. Right knee bends, lifts up in front of you. Good. Knee drops down beside the left knee, and then pull that heel towards your bum. Reach the hand back. So maybe this is where you're going to stay, with the hand stretching towards the heel lifting towards the hand, enough weight in the supporting hand. If it's available, you might grab, okay? So lots of different variations. This is hard. Good, if you grab, it's almost easier if you can get there. And then if you're grabbing, you're pressing. You're pushing the foot back into the hand. Yeah, you might even decide you're gonna lean forward. So you're playing with that motion. If you have a strap and you can't grab your back foot, then you could loop any kind of yoga towel, yoga strap, a tie, a scarf to be able to hold that foot and still make the same movement without so much effort. Good. Bringing that foot down, anchoring with the opposite hand. For me, my right foot stays grounded into the floor now. My left knee begins to lift in front of me. And then drops down beside the right. Pull the heel in towards the bottom and stretch that hand back as if they want to connect. You could stay right here. You can even tip here if that feels best for you. If the foot's available, feel free to grab it. 2 movements. One is the foot pressing into the hand, pulling the heel away from the bottom, lifting it high. The second movement is tipping the body on the fulcrum of the standing right leg. Remember that your supporting hand is just allowing this nice motion of the hips. I don't want to take you into full dancer only because I want our low backs to have a break. Release that down. So good. Can you feel it right here in that nice hip crease? The whole connection of where that thigh bone sinks into the socket of your hips. Good. So heels and toes come together. And if you're sliding your back body down the wall, and come back up again. Slide your back body down the wall, come back up again. So as you slide the back body, notice the moment where you have to lean forward to go further down. And I don't want you to pass that moment. Slide and push back up. Slide, push back up. Nice work. Good. Okay. Hands to pelvis. Keeping the pelvis in a nice neutral position. Maybe roll those shoulders down your back. Head floats on the top of the spine. Shake, nod the head, releasing any tension in the back of your neck. Good work. Left foot presses into the floor. Shoulders are relaxed. Right toe, right heel peels off the ground. Yeah. Knee lifts up in front of you. Allow it to start to come outside. Listen, if that wall or chair is still available for you, touch it. Notice if it lets more breath come into this pose. Put enough weight into those supporting fingers. That breath just feels abundant here. Good. Knee comes forward. Warrior three. So this foot reaches back behind you. Your arms can open wide. Still enough movement, enough support through the fingers, only moving as far forward as you have control. My back foot has found the closet door behind me. I feel really stable. And then come back down. Nice. Same thing on the other side. Might step forward and then I won't be able to use the back closet door. Right foot grounds. Left knee lifts up the floor in front of you. Okay. So if that hand can still find something to touch, go ahead and let it. If it brings open breath into your body. So good. Knee comes forward. Sweet, it drops down, and then we extend it back behind us, both hands doing a reach. If you have something around you that can be used for support, go right ahead. You come forward only as far as the fulcrum, at the top of that standing leg can support you. Keeping a long straight line from your back heel to the back of your head. So it doesn't matter if you're here. Maybe your back toes are even on the floor still. Nice work. Slowly releasing yourself out of that, letting the feet come to the floor. Nice. Just hip width apart, sway your hips side to side. Let them do a couple big circles. Yeah. Both ways. Nice. And then roll the shoulders a couple times, drop them down, let your hands fall. Shake and nod your head, your skull just floating to the top of your spine. Bend your knees and then straighten them enough that they're not locked. Good. And then with the pelvis, it's almost like you're going to tip it forward, tip it back, and let yourself find its neutral position where the tailbone feels like it's falling to the ground. The low back is releasing all tension. Yeah. That's your Tadasana, your mountain pose. So before we move to the ground, I just want to do a check-in here. I want you to close your eyes or let your gaze drop to the floor. Feel the inhale. I breathe in and I feel my breath breathing in. I exhale and I feel the breath releasing. Let your awareness just follow the movement of breath. Notice where that breath is emanating in your body. Notice it stretching to your fingers and toes. Expanding from the soles of your feet to the top of your head. There's 5 ways that the winds of Vata move in our body. The in and down of our inhale. The up and out of our exhale. The washing machine agitation motion of our digestive system. The down and out of our digestive system. And then this beautiful one we're feeling right now. The circulation moving through our whole body. Just feel all of those movements. Nice work. Inhale your hands all the way up to the sky. We're going to do a deep forward fold and then press hands to shins, stretching your back into a nice long straight line once again. Just feeling the chest pull away from the hips, the shoulders draw away from the breastbone. Nice contraction in the back body muscles, breathe deep. And then deep bend into your knees till your hands can plant and your body can step back to plank pose. Reach the shoulders over top of the wrists. Let your knees perhaps drop to the floor. Uncurl your toes and lower down. Nice. Hands plant beside shoulders. We keep nose pointed to the mat. Shoulders pulled down and away from ears. Gentle lift without pressing into your hands. And exhale to release to the floor. Chest peels up off the mat and drops back down. Just beautiful strengthening for the back body here. You only come up as far as there is no pain or discomfort. You lower yourself with as much control and stability as you can. Yeah. Let breath move. Strong, fluid, and control in your body. Sweet work. As you release down, your back toes can curl under. You've got two choices. You can sink into a child's pose or a downward dog. You're letting the pose be whatever it needs to be today. If you're in child's pose, the hands can be stretched forward. The forearms can be relaxed on the floor, elbows wide. In whichever pose you've chosen, the tailbone and the crown of the head feel like they're drawing in opposite directions. The spine feels that gentle opening and traction, as if the space between each vertebrae expands. As if your breath can reach in and fill up the discs like a bicycle pump fills up an inner tube. You're creating so much cushioning and support in your spine with that amazing use of breath. Plant your hands, everyone coming to hands and knees. Feet can move off to one side, bum lines on the floor. Stretch those feet straight out in front of you. Good, toes lift to the ceiling, sit bones ground. Yeah, inhale, hands up. Exhale towards toes. Inhale, hands up. Exhale, plant them behind your back. Inhale, hip lift. It can be a tiny hip lift. You can come up till you're flat and straight. Down. Breathe in. Toes. Breathe into sky. Breathe out, plant your hands. Breathe in, lift your hips. Exhale, release. Breathe in, hands to sky. Breathe out, touch toes. Hands to sky, breathing in. Hands plant, breathing out. Inhale, there's a hip lift. Exhale, hips set down again. Good work. Knees bend, feet come onto the floor. There's a nice tall spine here, shoulders roll down the back. Hands can slide in behind these thighs. You can lean back. And you can play here one heel at a time. If it feels good, both feet. Noticing how much weight your arms are holding of your legs. See if you can fortify those legs. Perhaps the hands aren't even needed. Breathe. How much can you let your breath be fluid, controlled, and unrestricted, even in this boat? Good job. Good job. All right, feet go onto the floor. Slide your bum down and release your spine onto the floor. Allow yourself just to have a moment or two, letting your back body rest down into the mat. Feel your breath. Feel the pulsation of your breath. Feel the expansive energy within your breath. Feel how it moves in all those 5 directions. There's a current, a life force, and energy that you can tap into. Good. And now just let your knees gently rock from side to side. Some of you still may want stillness, in which case you can let the knees go to one side, stay there for a few breaths, bring them back to center, let them go the other side, stay there for a few breaths. Or you can continue to just move on the cadence of breath. The inhales bringing you back to center and the exhales sinking you into the twist. Nice. Let's add arms. So your hands can go up to the ceiling, wrap palms around the opposite elbow. Trick here is to let your elbows fall in the opposite direction of your knees. It's like you're holding a box in front of your chest. Unwinding tension from the coiled spine. Nice work. Bringing everything back up to center. Maybe your hands just drop down beside you. Let's bring the heels to bum for just a moment. I want to think about a little bridge pose. The soles of the feet strong into the floor, the hands dropped beside the hips. Take a moment to roll each shoulder under the back body and let your head rest on the mat. We press into the feet, press into the arms, the hands, and let the hips lift up. Feel the spine lift up off the floor in a long 2x4 type way. Not one vertebrae at a time, but straight, long, connected. Yeah. You've perhaps lifted the hips just a centimeter. That's enough. Maybe you've lifted it, a foot. That's enough. Great. Beautiful. So from this position, we bend to the hip crease. So think of where the legs go into the hip socket. And I want you to let that crease get deep and folded so the whole spine can drop back down onto the floor. Your knees can come into your chest. Let the fingers reach up and drape over those knees. And just do rolls, circling your low back into the mat beneath you. Make sure you go both clockwise and counterclockwise. And then at all times, your movement is conducive to your open breath. So if some of those props are still around you, you could put your feet up a wall right now, if a wall is available. And just let the bum be a foot away from the wall, or you could nestle your bum right up against that wall. If a wall doesn't feel like it's available, you could have perhaps, your couch or chair seat, and your calves could rest on the seat of a stool, a chair, or a sofa. And the other way is maybe your furniture is such that the back of that furniture is close to you. And then you could use it the same way you would use a wall and just let your heels rest on the top of that piece of furniture. So elevating our legs is kind of this neat trick we do in yoga to allow our bodies to feel an inversion, where the blood flow pattern is a little bit different. So your gravity is working in new ways in your body. So your blood has to work a little bit harder to pump blood to your toes. And that's not what it's used to doing. And it's a little bit easier for your body to bring that blood back to the heart from the toes. And that's where it used to have to work very hard. So every time we bring our feet up the wall, we're just strengthening our arteries and veins in a new way. Just allow yourself to sink into whatever pose you've chosen and start to allow yourself to find your shavasana. So when you find that stillness, you are dropping into breath. Dropping into feeling that breath moving through your body. It's long. It's juicy. It's fluid. And your only job for the next few minutes is to just keep your awareness on that breath. Watching the inhale, you know you're breathing in. Watching the exhale, you know you're breathing out. And just know that the innate intelligence that gave you life instilled within you the ability to heal. And as you lie here in Shavasana, having opened up each cell to be receptive to breath, that innate intelligence is got a big gleeful smile on its face as it moves around your body, supporting, repairing, rejuvenating every cell that needs that extra support. Allow yourself that deep, beautiful breath. Bring a little bit of movement back into your fingers and toes. Just feel your physical body. Scan through your mental space and notice how the practice served you today. Feel into your heart space. Big breath there. And then letting a smile come onto your face. Maybe your hands go to your heart before you start to move too much more. Big breath. Perhaps exhale out of your mouth. Namaste, everyone. Thanks for joining me. I unmute.